What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Duuuval Again, y'all. I'm your host, Zach. You can find me on Twitter at blind_side_73. Uh, Today's going to be a little different episode. We're going to be talking about why we should have optimism for this new 2023 upcoming season for us in Duval County. I'm going to talk about some people. There's going to be a few reasons here that may surprise some people, but this is a new year, so we got to make sure that this isn't like a 2017. We have all the hype, and we're coming back down. If you like this show and some of the other shows we do on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out the website. That's at towardsthecitles.com. Or you can also check us out on Twitter at towardsthecitles. You want to interact with me or any other team, go through that way, and you can get connected with all of us. You can get connected with our Gilded chat, a whole bunch of other cool things we can do through Twitter or the website. Like I said, the website's also going to have some of the articles and stuff if you're into that, also not just video format. So and then also, if you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, any of our shorts, anything like that. Also, while you're on YouTube, make sure to check out the CFB Nation. That's going to help you with your college football information. Who knows? You may see some of us on both channels. Just need to make sure check the videos out, and you can see. Make sure to give us an Apple podcast and iTunes review. It just really helps the channel. And like I said, if you want to interact with us more, reach out on Twitter with me or at Coach Sheps. And we'll be able to hook you up with anything else you like, or get into our Gilded chat, and then some of the other things which I'll talk about later in the video. All right, so let's start talking about why should we be excited for 2023? I mean, a lot of people are like, well, we did good in 2017, then next year we fell on our face. The thing with that is the 2017 Jaguars versus this upcoming year Jaguars versus 2023. Or 2022 versus 2017. Let's compare them that way. All right, so the 2017 Jaguars were a lot of them were a little bit luck-based. It was our defense was scoring on everybody. Blake Bortles was the quarterback, which isn't really a great quarterback, but our defense was so good we were able to keep him away. Then with running Leonard Fournette, he didn't really have to throw that much. So that's one of the reasons why this is a different season, because this defense, while good, is on the level of that 2017 defense. The offense is better than that 2017 team. It's more consistent. We have a better quarterback. Trevor's better than Blake Bortles. Etienne versus Leonard Fournette. Is an interesting conversation. I personally think Travis Etienne's better, but you can make an argument for playoff Lenny. So that's it's a totally different system, different team. And then the biggest improvement is we got coaching. I mean, Coach Marone, the bologna sandwich eating man, he was a good coach, but I don't think he was the right coach to get us where we need to be. He wasn't like the worst coach we ever had, but he was kind of a players coach who wasn't like as good of like offensive plays. And then of course, you saw offensive coordinator for that was Nathaniel Hackett. You saw how he couldn't hack it in Denver last year. So you could tell he wasn't the greatest for that. He didn't have to put up the numbers. So this year's coming up is a little different because Doug Peterson is a proven Super Bowl winning offense coach. Even as head coach, he's still calling the plays. He knows what's going on. He knows he has trick plays up his sleeves. I mean, we saw in the playoff game against Chargers that 1950s T formation run with Etienne. No one's seen that in years, but I mean, that's a play that Doug Marone wouldn't make. But Doug Pearson has the confidence in the team in order to run plays like that, plays that a lot of coaches wouldn't think to do. So that's one big difference between this year and then the years in the past when we've got excited for a year and then falling on our face. So coaching, that's one. Another big one is, of course, year 2 in the system. I think a lot of it last year with our defense under Mike Caldwell, we had some growing pains, not just from the players, but also from coaching in general. because obviously being a first time DC, it kind of affects it. Like you're learning what you can do, what you can't do. But he still did a decent job. And then at the end of the year, I felt like we all saw that he was like rolling, started to feel like what he was going. So that's going to be a year to be a reason to be excited, because this is now year 2. He's gotten like the rookies jitters out of his system. So now as a DC, and so now we're at the point where he can start like, okay, I can run this. I can't do this. I can't do this. So that's the reason for improvement, and from that end. And then of course on the same end, we also have our guys are going to be improving. Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma are obviously the 3 biggest defensive players who we need to improve in order to get better, for our defense to go where we want to go. Well, Lloyd did get benched near the end of the year for Muma. I feel like he's going to be coming back better this year. So I feel like that's the reason for improvement, because if both of them get better, then of course the linebackers better, which makes the defense better, which makes us we're not able to do shootouts or having to come back crazy. So that's always a big good thing to have. We also, with Trayvon Walker, with news at ATAs, and then once training camp comes around, which is around the corner, we'll be able to probably have a better idea how often. But it looked like they're having him put his hand in the dirt more, which he has said he felt more comfortable with. And if you watch the games, he looked more comfortable. He looked better off the dribble when he had his hand in the dirt as opposed to rushing from the outside linebacker. So that ties into coaching, but also with him improvement. So that's 2 improvements right there. If they improve, that helps our pass rush better. So, I mean, that's a big reason that if like we improve the pass rush, we improve the team, we get better. That's always something I feel like we're lacking this year. And then even with the beginning of Jacksonville in like 2017, some of the sacks and numbers and all that, we wasn't able to keep it going every year. That's not something that I felt like we were going to be able to do, just because, I mean, the amount of touchdowns that defense was scoring, it was kind of ridiculous in a good way. But it's like you can't – turnovers come in bunches, as they say. And once those aren't coming, the defense wasn't as good as it once was. But I feel like this defense is more built for longevity. A lot of the guys were signed longer. They weren't as older. Like, I mean, Calais Campbell was older by the time we got him in Jacksonville, which helped. I mean, we didn't have much years of him, and then we traded him to Baltimore. And then Yannick had his issue with his contract, and then he ended up leaving, and Jalen ended up leaving. So I feel like that team just kind of derailed. Well, I feel like this team, most of them are signed long enough for a long term that they could build something together, not just 1 or 2 years. Just like, I mean, like Lloyd's on his rookie contract, Trayvon Walker's on rookie, Chad Muma's on his rookie contract. Fourier is locked up for 2 more years. Lua comes up for 2 more years. Josh Allen's contract's up after this year, but I feel like we will end up franchising, re-signing him. Cisco's here for a few more years, or 2 more years. Campbell's up for like 2 more years. So I mean, we have guys that are like, okay, we can build it together, not just hodgepodging it and hoping everything works out okay. So that's a big reason, that like continuity from the coaching staff and the players, and then improvement. That's 2 of the biggest things I feel like we need for them that I'm excited for. It's like I'm excited for, like, okay, so these guys, I'm ready to see what they can do. And then, of course, so next thing on the list of the reasons I feel like we will improve greatly is the signing of Calvin Ridley, or the trade for Calvin Ridley. I think a lot of this we're going to wait and see how he plays this year before we give him a new contract, because he is on his 5th-year option. But I feel like he's coming out to prove that he was really that guy. He feels like he's overcoming everything. There's videos coming out of like Deebo Samuel, the 49ers running. He's running like 18 miles an hour. Then if you look behind him, Calvin Ridley's running faster. So he's probably running like 19 and a half miles per hour. So that's a huge difference. I mean, they're showing in practice that he is like being on, no one can cover him. And the little bit they've actually done some team stuff. If you just watch him in this individual drills, you can see he's a lot faster than everyone else. All the other receivers, even like Christian Kirk, who I feel like had a great year as our number 1 receiver last year. But I mean, now this year it's probably going to be Ridley. I think he may start out a little slow, but I think once it starts going, I think Trevor, once he starts trusting him more like he trusted Kirk, I think it's going to be a great year for him. But that also knocks everybody down one, so that makes our receiving core that much better. So meaning like Christian Kirk was our number one. Now he's going to be the number two receiver, which means he's going to have the number two corners, and he's better than a lot of number two corners. So he's the better chance to put up yards numbers and have better mismatches. And then Zay Jones, who was number two, now he's number three. Same thing. He's going to have better mismatches, better ways to get open. I think like he'll take more of like the Marvin Jones role we had last year, which was good because I mean Marvin Jones was third down. I mean with big play Zay, I feel like it's really going to help us. So we're going to have a better offense, even with Evan Ingram's contract situation, which as of today, which is he has not signed it yet, but they still have a few days to get the contract extended before he's on the franchise tag. And even if he plays on the franchise tag, that's again year two in the system. He knows it. He'll know it. So I feel like he'll have a great year again. I feel like near the end of the year, we caught fire in Jacksonville, and I feel like that should transfer over to this year because I mean, with like I said, with the coaching, with Doug Peterson being a great offensive play caller, it's really going to help us become the dominant franchise that we can be. I don't think a lot of people realize that. I was like, oh, it was just Jacksonville, but I was like, if we're finally this year, we're finally getting like the hype train, like in the media and nationally, which I think is what we have been saying for years. That we're not the same old Jags. This is a different year. This is different people. This is a different feel. Doug Pearson's probably the only coach we've had that's won Super Bowl when he came here. So like I mean, like Coughlin won one after, or so I mean that's a little different, but it is a lot to say. But again, with his offensive plan, with all the like I said, Trevor and everybody's getting better. I feel like that's going to help us a lot. Make sure to check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Choice of Titles. We have a bunch of different tiers, so no matter what your financial situation is, we can still subscribe to it if you like to, and then it can helps us create better content and more stuff for you guys to interact with us. It ranges from like $1.50 a month all the way up to $20. I mean, some of the tiers have free merch. Some of the tiers have like we can help you one-on-one with your fantasy teams, with your team individually versus in your league as a whole. So like, hey, you got to watch out for this person in this league because they have blank player versus, or hey, you have a good team. I would try to get one or two players, and we'll put out special episodes that just focused on that. And also make sure to get into the Frankenstein League, which is a fantasy league. That's a little different of how they do on it, but it's really cool. So make sure to check that out. One of the tiers, you get a discounted price for getting into the league. So I mean, try to get in quick because those the days cutting close. We're about to close the league before too long. So you make sure to try to get into that. If you're not able to get into this year, of course, there's always next year. But make sure to check all those out because it's going to be really cool. And like I said, some of the tiers even have free merch. I mean, who wants to? There's all different varieties of that, so make sure to check all those out. But again, just check it out, and we'll see you there. All right. So my last two reasons I have for optimisms is one of them is in scoring. So that one goes as a whole. So by that, what I mean by that is some scoring. Some of our issues, like early in the year, we had in goal line situations we didn't really have it struggled. Whether that was because of the offensive line, whether that was because of Trevor throwing interceptions in the red zone, was it Travis Etienne fumbling in the red zone? There's just a whole variety of different reasons that it struggled. Well, this year I feel like we have built stuff in order to help with that. So I mean, we have Calvin Ridley, which is going to help a lot with that. We got Derek Parrish in the fourth round as a fullback, as a former defensive end, so he's not afraid to hit. So that he'll help in that short yard situation in that way as well. It's like a blocking back as long as he makes the team. And then, of course, we got Tank Bigsby, who's supposed to do what Snoop Connor was supposed to do last year. This year it will be basically doing it, because that will help with all that situations, everything we've built, help with that. And then Trevor year 2. I mean, Trevor cut it down the other year, so this is this is third year. We all we consider this his second year, because the Urban Meyer debacle kind of messed with everything. But so that's going to help with that a lot. Another issue that's going to help with that is Bretton Strange. So that's another good tight end we have. So that's another option in the red zone. I mean, Calvin Ridley's there, so Ingram's there, so that there's enough big targets that Trevor should be able to hit them a lot easier and do his things that way. So that's going to help that a lot. And then that helps us score, helps us win. Then the other thing on top of that that's going to help us score this year is, as much as it hurts me, signing Brandon McManus. I mean, we all liked Riley Patterson last year. I mean, he had one of the biggest kicks in Jaguars history. But Brandon McManus is more consistent. He has a better leg, so he has better range. So if we get into these gray area, we aren't forced to go for it. We can kick the field goals, take the points, get off the field type situation. I feel like as the year started, Doug Pearson didn't trust Riley as much for the long distance, because he didn't have the leg for it. So I feel like that's a lot of the reasons why we went for it a lot early. But I mean, now this won't be an issue. And then, of course, we score more, we win more, we have a chance to win. I mean, and we all like the wins. But and then the last reason, of course, which I've hinted at it on some of these other tiers, but the last reason, of course, is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he showed what the type of quarterback he can be. He's upper echelon, but a lot of people putting Herbert over him. I still don't. Me personally, my fan of Justin Herbert, but I mean, I feel like right now Trevor's like a top 7 quarterback in the league. Especially with all the weapons we put around him, especially with the quick release. I mean, our offensive line there is 2 major changes with Juwan gone, and then probably Cam missing at least the first 6 games due to suspension, or the first 4 games, I mean, of his suspension. But then does he go back? Does he go a guard? So that's going to mess with him. But Trevor's release is so great, it doesn't hurt him as much as it could. So that's going to help him. I mean, he has better weapons. He has better protection, because I feel like Antoine Harrison is going to be an improvement of Jawan Taylor. Because I feel like Jawan just had the 1 year, and I feel like Antoine's going to be better long term. I think even if Cam comes back to left tackle, and we slide Walter Little to left guard, I feel like that's a better upgrade than Tyler Shatley and Ben Barch. So I feel like his offensive line is going to be better, and I feel like he'll have more protection with more receivers, more weapons. I feel like he could show his improvement. I feel like he can be better. His only weakness, I feel like, is going to be still the fumble thing, which I feel like it's only so much we can do. There's almost so much bigger he can get. Which again, the offensive line protects him better. He doesn't fumble, which I mean, the only game I feel like it really, truly 100% hurt us was the Eagles game when it was raining in that monsoon, we kind of brushed it to the side. But yeah, that's my hopes for the reason to be excited. I mean, we got a continuation. We got the coaching staff. We have the defense getting better. We have the offensive line being mostly the same. We got Trevor's, which is the biggest reason I feel like is the reason for us improvement is going to be Trevor Lawrence. We got in a year 2 in the system, he knows back to his hand. And we know the system. It's easier to tell everybody else, and then you can know what you're supposed to do. So make sure to, like I said, like and subscribe. Make sure to tune in next week. I'm going to start breaking down, do my schedule breakdown, what our record's going to be. So again, make sure to check that out next week. Just remember, this is a Duuuval against y'all. And we always got to end it with the Duuuval.
What's up, Title Tribe? We appreciate you watching the show. If you want to catch up on all of our college football content, make sure you subscribe to the CFB Nation by clicking their link below. Make sure you subscribe to the Toilets Titles Podcast Network by clicking our link below. And make sure to catch our other content by watching these videos to the side.